ladies and gentlemen, I think I know just about everybody in this room, and I've talked to you all in the past. And for those of you that don't know who I am, I've been around since about '82. I actually was the, I just point this out because I want to pimp our ocean rescue guy back here. I think I was the second in line as the ocean rescue specialist on the Outer Banks back in 1976.
Dinosaurs were still here.
What's that?
Dinosaurs were still here on the Outer Banks.
That's okay, and I used to bury them in the beach when they died. But never in front of Nellie Myrtle's house.
No.
But in the beginning, I opened a fitness center in the Outer Banks in 1982, and it was originally called Outer Banks Nautilus and Athletic Club. And one of our first clients or corporate members at that facility, and we leased a space which is still known as the Sea Ranch over here on 3rd Street. Some of you remember that facility. We joined forces with the town of Kill Devil Hills, and they were the first town in the county to involve a wellness program in their workplace. And it's kind of interesting. Before I walked in this morning, I went back over here in the old workout room, and lo and behold, the piece of equipment still sits that we used to use 25 or 30 years ago. But the most important thing that I got out of viewing that piece of equipment, it took me back further. You know, it was probably in 1970. Now, I'm 55 years old, but in 1970, I was a little punk high school kid or freshman, and I introduced myself to strength training. And that was done on a vintage piece, which is now vintage, but a popular brand new piece of equipment known as the Universal 12-Station Multi-Use System. You have that piece of equipment sitting in that room right next door. So for me, it's full of wonderful memories and wonderful nostalgia. And at the same time, I've spent 30+ years involved in public fitness education. I spent about 6 years prior to that getting a secondary education in physiology, which gave me some interest and passion to promote this kind of thing. But today, through my education and experience, I've gained a tremendous amount of knowledge, and I know that as I've grown older, the best thing to do with it is trying to give it away for free. And one of the things that's still available in this world today is free fitness. You don't have to buy anything to become fit, but you have to understand what's required to be healthier. Health in the workplace is probably the most important place for fitness to be. We're all familiar that healthy people, and almost everybody in this room is a part of this town that requires some form of health and fitness. I see police officers, I see firemen, there are EMS people, and in my mind, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming those people need to be relatively healthy because they take care of me. And that machine in that room works just fine today for me, as it will for you. You don't need special equipment to be fit, but you have to understand what's required. 3 components are necessary. You have to have a basic understanding of cardio fitness, or the relationship between the heart and lungs. You have to have a fairly good understanding of strength fitness, really what's required to change your body and become stronger, and what does that do for you. But most importantly, I think the most important requirement to improving health, none of those 2 active parameters work unless you involve yourself with an education that covers about 80% of your success or failure at becoming healthier. And that's what the heck you eat. So, and that seems to be one of the areas that we leave out of most of the sales pitches, correct? You don't find as many programs in the newspaper or on TV that sell nutrition as much as you can find insanity DVDs, and P90X and Zumbas, and Easy Gliders and Easy Rollers, or whatever the case may be. So nutrition is the one part of the program that seems to be left out, and it's one of the parts of the program that we this year, in accordance with the town being the first, I believe, in your demonstration series, and Team Mike, you're very fortunate to bring some of the most knowledgeable people on the beach into your environment this afternoon to learn a bit about the most important part, which is nutrition. With us you have Levi. Levi Burge will follow me in just a minute. Levi is a self-taught, self-made world champion. Doesn't mean anything to you guys, and the thought of bodybuilding sometimes sets people back. But you know what? Anyone in this room that has become healthier, tried to become healthier, tried to become fitter, tried to go on a diet, or tried to make self-improvement, has tried bodybuilding. The word might be foreign to you, but that's what we all try to do today. No matter what we do in terms of our fitness packaging, we're trying to change our physique. This guy knows how to do it. He's a world champion natural bodybuilder. In 2011, he did win the National Association of Professional Bodybuilding World Championship. So he knows what's going on. He's only, how old are you, Levi, 25? He's only 25, but he's been doing this since he was 16. And if you understand the commitment that goes into that lifestyle, you'll realize it's not an 8-hour-a-day job. It's a 20-hour-a-day job, and the 10 years he's invested is the same amount of time that most people invest in a 20-year career. So he knows what he's doing. We also have Miss Diane Fisher, RN, as you well know, but she spent a considerable amount of time in the Outer Banks involved in weight management and nutritional counseling. Probably very few people on the beach have that experience. You combine that with Chef Stepp. Chef Wes has learned from his own unhealthy habits, his introduction into the healthy environment, his passion becoming, excited about fitness training, cardio work, weight work, but he knew that his true passion and skill led himself into understanding how to eat to make that engine run properly. So now you have someone that has involved his whole life in the passion of food preparation. He understands how to make products that work well to become healthier. You have Levi that knows how to structure workout programs and the types of things you need to do to become healthier. And you also have Miss Diane here who can certainly keep you on track and hold you accountable to making those right choices that we're trying to make. So if you have any interest at all and you take any part of your little brain and pay attention to what they have to say over the next few minutes, it may give you some of that enthusiasm and some of that discipline that you can take forward and do a better job. With that said, I'd like to turn it over to Levi and let Levi come up and give you a little bit of a presentation on what he does.
When we first came up with the idea to do this cooking demo, kind of came from after I won the World Championships in 2011, November. Wes came to me and he said, I've been training Wes for 3 years at that point, and he said to me, Levi, I think it'd be cool to do a bodybuilding contest. So I said, man, you sure? It's going to take some dedication. He said, yeah, I want to do it. So I put him together a program, and really what I'm going to lay out for you is the program that I gave to Wes, right? That I put Wes through. And just know that when we started this out, Wes is in relatively good shape, right? Well, he started out, and he has about, right now, we just measured him the other day, a 35 3/4 inch waist right around the belly button, right? Okay, he had just about the same measurement last year when we began our contest preparation, right? And at the end of his contest preparation, his waist, same place, same measurement, was about 30 inches. So over a 12-week period of time, that's how long I allotted for it, he lost, what's that, 6 inches off his waist almost. That's pretty intense. So just know this is a real dude. These are real results. So people looked at the results that Wes had. He's got pictures of him at the contest, with his, doing his hands overhead ab shot with his abs popping out and stuff. And people are like, no way, what did you do? Did you spend hours in the gym to get like that? No, he didn't spend hours in the gym to get like that. He trained with me for 30 minutes a day, right? I had him doing weight work for 30 minutes a day and a 20-minute cardio period. So that's a total of 50 minutes, rounded off to an hour a day that he was spending in the gym 5 days a week. He trained Monday and Tuesday, and then we did Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So Wednesday and Sunday were rest days, right? So first, just get rid of the idea that in order to get in even extremely good shape, that you got to spend hours a day in the gym, because you don't. Even me winning a world championship, I don't spend more than an hour and a half in the gym. Well, I mean, I do because I'm a personal trainer, but with my training, I'm not in the gym for more than an hour and a half, right? And that's with my cardiovascular exercise and everything. So just looking at that, keep that in mind. 30 to 45 minutes is all you need to do with weights, and like 20 to 30 minutes is all you need to do with cardio, okay? And remember when you're working out that it's not about how much weight you can lift. You see these pictures of these guys with crazy amounts of weight on the bar. It's not about the weight. I tell people over and over again, it's about feeling your muscles work. It's not about so many reps for so much weight, that kind of deal. It's not about that. I do recommend keeping your rep range between the 8 to 15 repetitions, because you go much over 15, I think you're just spinning your wheels. Personally, you go much below 8 and you're not really stimulating the muscle fibers that you're going to want to hit. So just keep that in mind, 8 to 15, but then the rep range, you know, you don't got to say, okay, I got to get 10 repetitions, because then you're just more focused about getting it done than you are about feeling the muscles work. So if you're training your biceps, think about feeling your biceps working. If you're training your legs, then think about feeling your legs working, right? So, good form, feel the muscle. Sorry, I gotta have my notes. You need at least 1 day of rest. Remember, I said I had Wes training 5 days a week. He had 2 days of rest. I do recommend not having more than 1 day of rest in a row, so don't have 2 days of rest in a row if you're really trying to lose body weight, because your metabolism just kind of slows down over those days that you're not working out. So just 1 day of rest at a time, but 2 days of rest a week is good. So I mentioned the cardio, and your cardio, remember, that's going to be most effective immediately after your weight work, because your heart rate's already going to be elevated, your metabolism is already going to be stimulated, so you're going to burn more calories if you do it right after you lift weights. So that's why I had him doing 30 minutes weight work and then hop right on the treadmill to maximize those efforts, right? Okay, so now we get to the fun part, right? The diet, okay? Like Stu said, it is about 80%. I mean, you can go in, you can work out just as hard as you want to, and I see guys all the time, they spend hours in the gym, and they are overtraining because they don't need to be in the gym for hours, you know? It's like, go to work, do something, go home, spend time with your wife. But yes, and then they leave and they go to Dunkin' Donuts or they go to Pizza Hut, whatever, and you're really just blowing your efforts in the gym when you do that. So nutrition is essential, all right? So the basic principles that I gave to Wes, right, for this contest preparation, okay? I tell everybody, eat the foods that are the closest to the way they appear in nature. So, pizza. Sorry. The foods that are like processed foods, they don't have any nutritional value because they've been so processed, your body really doesn't even recognize it as food. So you go to McDonald's, you get a cheeseburger, your body's just like, what is this chemical crud? You know, it's like, it doesn't know what to do with it, so what does it do? It either stores it as fat, or it just shoots it on through. And unfortunately for most of us, I know some people that tend to shoot it on through, but I personally tend to store it as body fat. So just remember that, you know, when you're choosing the foods that you eat, choose the ones that are the closest to the way they appear in nature. Now with Wes, I gave him the breakdown, right? You've got 3 major nutrients. Well, you've really got 4, I guess. Water is considered a nutrient. So you take that first, most important nutrient, like Stu was saying, is water, right? Your body is 70 to 80% water. Your muscles need it for hydration. Stu was telling me a while ago, you know, the first thing he tells somebody when somebody comes in and says, how do I lose some weight? First thing he says is, start drinking a gallon of water a day. I mean, and within a week, you'll see like a 5-pound weight loss just because your body's acting more efficiently. Your metabolism is going to be cranked up. Your muscles are going to be more energetic and are therefore going to burn more calories. So keep that in mind. Your body is 70 to 80% water, and it's not going to work right if you're not drinking enough water. So I told Wes, take in a minimum of a gallon of water a day because Wes is working hard, all this stuff. So he's drinking a gallon of water a day, right? Okay, so now your 3 major nutrients that all food is made of: protein, carbohydrate, and fat, okay? Now something key to note is that protein and carbohydrate, each one, a gram, has 4 calories, okay? And a gram of fat has 9 calories. So that's important to look at when you're thinking, because it really is calories in versus calories out, right? So if I take in more calories than I'm putting out, I'm going to grow, whether it's muscle or fat, I'm going to grow. If I'm putting out more calories than I'm taking in, I'm going to shrink. Whether it's muscle or fat, I'm going to shrink. So you have to keep in mind, in the calories that I'm taking in, protein and carbohydrate are going to have less calories than fat. So you got to keep that in mind. All right. So now, where am I going from here? Oh yeah. So the protein sources that I had Wes on were mostly white poultry and white fish, and the reason for and egg whites. The reason for that is that those are the leanest sources of protein that you can find. If you're having a lot of beef, you're going to get a lot of fat in with that. And you don't want so much fat because it's going to have a lot more calories, it's going to slow your metabolism down over time, and you're just going to store more body fat. So I told Wes, stick with chicken breast, turkey breast, whatever, white poultry, and white fish. And he did that for the most part. He had a few meals, you know, I allowed him once in a while, had some either very lean beef, like, well, he's going to tell you about some of that. But anyway, so very lean beef, very lean pork cut he had a couple of times. So yeah, the lean protein is going to be your best sources. As far as carbohydrate sources, I really had 5 basic carbohydrates that I allowed him to eat. I allowed him to have sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, which a lot of people aren't down with. They think white potatoes are going to turn fat as soon as you eat them, but I really don't think that's the case and have not found it to be the case. So sweet potatoes, white potatoes, oatmeal, brown rice, and grits. I've just found grits to be a helpful food without butter, without cheese. But, so these were the carbohydrates that I said. I know, what's the point of eating them, right? Yeah, but anyway. So anyway, those are the 5 basic carbohydrates that Wes was eating. There are others out there that are quality carbohydrates that you can eat, but those are the 5 majors. Then you've got fruits and vegetables. I said, okay, now eat 2 fruits a day, you know, like an apple and an orange. I would say stay away from melons because they're going to be more sugary and you're just going to store them easier. It's going to jack your glycemic index up and all that stuff, or your blood sugar up. But she's going to talk about that, sorry. So 2 pieces of fruit a day is my recommendation, just because it's got vital nutrients in it that your body's going to need. And then all the vegetables you can eat. You know, I don't care carrots. I don't even count the calories from it because the fiber outweighs it. Spinach, lettuce, you know, all that stuff is good to go. Eat all of it you can. Okay, and then your fat sources, right? So what are going to be the healthiest fat sources that you can eat? I found that the most beneficial fat sources that you can eat while losing weight are going to be almonds, like natural peanut butter, maybe some salmon, but you got to watch how much because there's a lot of fat in it, and some avocado. Okay. Again, you got to control your portion sizes with these because while your body needs the healthy fats, you got to watch how much you're taking in. I tell somebody have some avocado, it kind of turns into a whole avocado, where it should be more like a quarter of an avocado, and I say a tablespoon of peanut butter, it kind of turns into a serving spoon that's like piled up to the sky. But so you got to watch how much fat you're taking in, but your body does need some healthy fats, right? Okay, so trying to make sure. Oh yes, eating multiple times a day. I had Wes on this diet. I had a caloric range that I was aiming for, and I said, okay, we can either have 5 big meals a day, or we can have multiple. You can do 8 or 9 small meals a day, and it's all really. Wes he owns a restaurant. He does caterings. He does. He'll tell you about some of the stuff that he does, but he's got a crazy schedule, you know. So he's got to have his food with him. Some days are very long. Gets up before 5 in the morning. Doesn't get to go to bed until after 11 o'clock at night. You know, those are hard days, but it is possible to do them. What you got to do is you got to just spread your meals out a little bit not spread them out a little more, but make them a little smaller so that you can have more meals, right? So you're not starving when you go to bed at 11 o'clock at night. I do the same thing myself, and I recommend y'all do that too. You should never go more than 2 to 3 hours without eating, because when you do that, your metabolism is going to slow down. So that's the reason why I tell him, keep your meals coming in, because your body needs that to keep the metabolism rolling. All right, so the basic idea is eat the foods that are closest to the way they appear in nature, right? Eat quality foods. Well, I guess I just said that. Eat multiple times a day, drink plenty of water, and yeah, I think that's pretty much what I got. So,
All right, thank you, Lisa.
I'm going to give it to Diane.
All right, just a little bit about myself. I am a registered nurse, but for the last 10 years have been just my passion is for fitness and weight loss, wellness. I do specialize in women, sorry gentlemen, over the age of 30, and that's just because it hits home. I've battled my weight my whole life, well, up until about the 30s, and I'm very vertically challenged, so 10 pounds shows up on me very easily. So what changed when I was 30 is I finally got the concept is you have to eat. I stopped dieting, I stopped doing the Atkins, I stopped doing the starvation, I stopped not eating, and I started eating. And what Levi is telling you, he's got all this stuff that you need to eat. I'm going to tell you why you need to eat it and how you need to eat it. Based on your blood sugar, everybody familiar with blood sugars, and not because anybody in here is diabetic, just because if I were to put a diabetic on a diet, it would be the same diet that I would put a weight loss client on. And it is all about regulating your blood sugar. Women typically, they don't eat, or they don't eat until 10 o'clock in the morning. They get the whole family ready. And I'm going to give you a little demo on what this does to your blood sugar and how it affects your metabolism and your fat storage. So women, they don't eat till 10 o'clock. All right, so they got up at 6, and their blood sugar's already down here because they just got up, and blood sugar's right here. And they got the whole family ready, husband's out the door, they're scrambling, and they finally get to their desk or wherever they are about 10 o'clock. Well, what was their body fueling on between 6 and 10? We did nothing. So you know what our body did? Our body was made for starvation mode, and whenever you don't fuel, your body slows your metabolism down, stores fat cells, and actually burns muscle. Now back to the muscle thing. Muscle, 1 pound, tell everybody this, I think it's great. 1 pound of muscle burns 50 calories a day just being there, just sitting, doing absolutely nothing. It takes 50 calories to supply that muscle. 1 pound of fat, 3 calories. So if I put 20 pounds of muscle on my body, I would raise my metabolism, what's the math? 1,000 calories a day, and that's incredible. So goal-wise, to raise the metabolism is I want to turn that fat into muscle, and I surely don't want to burn any muscle by not eating breakfast. So first thing in the morning, within an hour of waking up, you should supply your body with some kind of carb-protein combination. And Levi covered that food very well. I just want to tell you what it does to your blood sugar. So at 6 o'clock, I'm right here. Had breakfast, had some oatmeal, eggs, turkey, sausage, whatever Levi put on the menu. And I bring my blood sugar right about here and say we ate at, I'm going to go on even numbers because I'm better like that. So 8 o'clock we ate. About 10 o'clock you're starting to drop. We don't know we're dropping. We're busy, we're at work, we're doing whatever. We don't know we're dropping, and for those of us that are not diabetic, we compensate for it and we don't feel it either. But your body starts to drop. Well, as your blood sugar starts to drop, what is your metabolism doing? It's backing up a little bit, and it's also storing fat. Now I'm going to give you one good redneck scenario, which is right at Wes's alley, is hunting. All right, bear meat. I don't know if anybody in the room has ever cooked bear meat. Yeah. You don't have to admit to it if you don't want to. But it is probably the fattest meat that you can prepare.
It's tasty.
And I'm glad. You have your bear meat. All right, versus venison. You actually have to add fat to venison if you want to make a deer burger or something like that. It's just lean, no fat in it whatsoever. So let's look at the diet of a bear versus the deer. So the bear eats what? Once every 4 days, once a week. I mean, just gorgeous, holds on to it. And the bear's metabolism is so slow, and it was made like that because it needs to pack on the fat. It goes into hibernation, the cold weather. Anyway, the deer, they eat nonstop. they eat all day long. So this is what their metabolism and their body's doing. They fuel burn, fuel burn, fuel burn all day long. Where the bear fuels, falls like that, and all he does is store fat. And so if you look at the diet of the bear versus the diet of the deer and apply that to your own, we need to be eating at least every 3 hours, because by that 3rd hour, you might not feel it, you might be preoccupied, but your blood sugar is right here. And what's that? You might as well just put on fat, just holding on to the fat, not letting go. Now, another thing about spiking your blood sugar, and this is where Levi's talking about simple and complex carbs. If your simple carbs are your pack of nabs, there's absolutely no nutritional value in a pack of crackers. Agreed? All right. I didn't know what a nab was until I moved to North Carolina. But anyway, pack of nabs, no nutritional value whatsoever. So we're talking about simple versus complex carbs. Complex carbs packed full of fiber, nutrients, stuff, energy food. So, forgot where I was going with this. Oh, spiking the blood sugar. So when you spike the blood sugar and you eat a pack of nabs, all that extra sugar is in the bloodstream. Your insulin pump throws out insulin, but all the extra sugar that we do not burn off as energy builds fat cells. So when you spike your blood sugar, you're making fat cells. When you dump your blood sugar, you're actually storing them. So where do you need to be? Right across the board. And staying across the board is by eating every 2 to 3 hours. So healthy breakfast, starting to dip. Handful of almonds, starting to dip. Lunch, staying like this all day long. You're going to increase your metabolism. You're never going to be hungry, and you're probably going to be a happier person. You're going to, your mood's going to level out. You're going to have energy all the time. And then you think that's a lot to eat, 6 to 7 times a day. But once you do this for about a week, every 2 hours, your body's asking for food. And whereas before, you could go 5, 6 hours without eating and think, oh shoot, I didn't eat all day. Well, after doing this for a good week or so, your body is like, I'm getting a little hungry. And that's good. That means you are burning. You're burning as much as you're fueling. So you keep your blood sugar right here versus here and here, that you're going to have higher energy and you're going to raise your metabolism. So by eating 6 to 7 times a day, you're going to raise your metabolism. By strength training and building muscle, you're going to raise your metabolism. Now, one more thing for the ladies in here. After the age of 30, we start breaking down muscle hormonally. We start breaking down muscle at, 0.2% every year, whatever the figure is. And between 30 and 35, we put on 10 pounds. We're like, haven't done a thing different. I'm eating the same thing. I'm still doing my little, aerobic routine, whatever it may be. And the reason is because hormonally, we are breaking down muscle. How do you fight that? Weights. You actually pick up some weights. Cardio, fantastic. You're, burning calories. Strength training, you are building muscle, and you need the muscle to keep your metabolism up while you're asleep. Does everybody remember being 18 and you could eat 3 cheeseburgers and you still wake up with a 6-pack? That's because they were solid muscle, and they were just constantly burning. Well, as we get older, we lose our muscle mass. We replace that with fat cells. Our metabolism is down here, and we can't eat 3 cheeseburgers and wake up with a 6-pack. So how do we fight that after the age of 30? We strength train. Same thing with men. You guys don't start losing muscle mass till 45 and 50, so you've got a little bit of advantage. But at 45, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, where did this come from? And that is the reason. Age is catching up, and you are losing muscle mass as well. So, one other thing, I did want to touch on the water, and we touched on that briefly. Important. Water is so important for the diet, especially when you're mixing it with fiber and you're cleaning your system out. And the rule of thumb is half your weight in ounces, and I said this prior to half of y'all getting here. So if you weigh 120 pounds, at minimum, I need 60 ounces of water a day. And that is prior to my workouts and that kind of stuff. And that is coffee and tea. They're definitely on, you're allowed to have them in your meal plan, but they do not count because they are caffeine and, work as a diuretic as well. So good, clean water, make sure. And just a little cheating factor, 1 liter of water burns 100 calories just to get it through your system. So it's kind of like free exercise. So 2 liters, you're burning 200 calories.
Beer doesn't count.
Beer does not count, I'm afraid. All right, while we're on that subject, everybody's probably concerned about alcohol. Now, alcohol has 7 calories per ounce. So versus carbs are 4, proteins are 4, fats are 7. No, fats are
8, 9.
Okay. And alcohol is 7, right? All right, so everything's in moderation. Wouldn't take, if you took all your fun out of your diet or all, stuff like that, then, what is the point? I would recommend your white wines and stuff like that loaded with sugar. We can stay away from that. Every now and again, a glass of red wine, that is perfectly fine. And like I said, everything is in moderation. So not to take everybody's fun away, but the people that would come see me in my office, alcohol was a big weight factor, huge. And another big thing was the timing on the food. So eating every day. Did anybody skip breakfast this morning? In the house. So if you skip breakfast this morning, I mean, that is just getting up eating breakfast. That is perfect. That's the perfect start. Wes has got some food prepared up here. And, go ahead.
Are you done?
I'm done. I can't talk now.
Thank you.
If you guys, this is a passion of mine. If you guys want to contact me to do a personal one-on-one, anything like that, we just gear you in the right directions. I got a lot to say that couldn't fit into the little 10-minute segment, but contact me via Facebook or Wes or T-Mike. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Okay. How y'all doing?
Right. Doing good.
My name is Wes Stepp. I am the chef and owner of the Red Sky Cafe up in Duck. If you don't know me, that's who I am. And I really appreciate everybody coming. I appreciate T-Mike setting this thing up. Stu, Levi, who's been with me on my journey for the last 3 or 4 years and took me through my journey of the bodybuilding contest that he was talking about. Diane's been around. I've known her for a good long time. She's always talking the same stuff, which is all good. And you know what, if you work out or if you've been around the gyms or anything like that, you pretty much know this information. I mean, it's not like rocket science, and a friend of mine told me one time, he said, Wes, if you had an original thought, it would die of loneliness. So, that's the truth, and all of us know the principles of eating small portions. We need to eat healthy food. We know Big Mac's not on there, and we know we need to eat small meals so many times a day. The problem with that thing is we can all know it till we're blue in the face, but doing it is a whole nother level. And what I ended up doing to take this journey was I picked a goal, first thing. Levi introduced me to the goal. I've never been a bodybuilder follower. I'm kind of a hunter kind of guy, and it just didn't fit my realm of things. But it looked like a heck of a challenge. So what I decided to do, before I did that, I did the Tough Mudder. I've done the Outer Banks boot camps, I've done the running, I've done all the different kinds of working out. What would happen to me is I would reach different levels with the working out like I wanted to, but then all of a sudden I would begin to fall short. Now what I would do then is I would intensify my workouts. I'd say, you don't want to work out more. That's what I need to do. I need to work out more. I need to work out harder. And then I'd burn out or I'd get injured, which is what happened to me last year in the Tough Mudder. I did the Tough Mudder, which was 12 miles of an obstacle course race up in Wintergreen. And what happened was I tore my meniscus in my knee, and the next day I went to the doctor. I should have gone the day before, but I went the next day and he said, you need surgery. So I had surgery in November last year, right around Thanksgiving. Now, if you're used to working out, it's part of your mental therapy, and that's what happens with working out. And a couple different things about that is I would never have achieved any of the things that I did to the bodybuilding contest, even the Tough Mudder, or these things by myself. I would have had great intentions. Same friend of mine told me once, he said, Wes, you know, we love to judge ourselves by our intentions. Unfortunately, the rest of the world judges us by our actions. And my actions wouldn't follow up with my intentions because I needed support. That is the big thing. So T-Mike invited us here today. If you guys are serious about this, and some of you want to get serious and want to go to another level in your fitness, or just begin, I suggest you pair up. I suggest you become accountable to each other, because that's the only way I could get through it. Now, the other thing about this diet part of this thing is I knew that's what Levi was going to want me to do. If you work out and you do weights or you do cardio, generally you like one better than the other. I like weights. I do weights 6 days a week. But every time I'd reach a certain level, they say, you got to go to the next level, which is do cardio. Oh, man. Levi introduced me to a cardio program that I could handle, which was 20 minutes on a treadmill walking. On an incline, keeping my heart rate at 130. Did I think it was going to work? Heck no, I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't think it was intense enough to work. It worked. It was a package that he put me on. 30 minutes of weight training. After doing it for a few weeks, I was like, Levi, we need to kick it up a notch. He said, no, we need to keep sticking with the plan. I needed that accountability. I needed that guy to continually tell me, Wes, quit trying to think yourself out of this thing and just do what I tell you to do. I'm in better shape than you. Oh, that's right. You know, in the gym, Levi will spot me, and I'll do X amount of sets. But you know what? The majority of the change takes place in the 2 sets that he helps me with. The 2 reps that he gets me through that I would not have done if he wouldn't have been there or someone else wouldn't have been there. We all need a spot when we're going through change. And to incorporate that change, I need a spot. Now, he also spotted me on this diet. Now, I see Levi eating in the gym, and you guys probably think the same thing I am. He thinks around eating a sweet potato or a bag of spinach and a boiled chicken breast. That's me, buddy. I'm a chef. That dog don't hunt, you know what I mean? I can't do that crap for 10 minutes, let alone 10 weeks or 12 weeks, you know. That dog don't hunt, no way, huh? So he gave me the parameters of the diet, and what I did was I reported to him every day with my food journal, which I also don't like to write food journals. I strongly suggest you write food journals. But I didn't want to do it, but he wanted to see it. He didn't want to hear me tell him what I was doing. He wanted to see it on a piece of paper. That food journal helps you, that little teeny trick helps you become accountable all of a sudden to yourself. Also, when you start making progress, you can go back and see how you did it. And say, dang on, it did work. And the next thing is I went ahead and go ahead and make the food that tasted good. Like Levi said, I'm busy. Okay, and you guys said, well, Wes is a chef. That's what he does. He just cooks all day long. I don't have time to cook all day long. What I did was I went through the store and I said, how can I make brown rice quick and easy? 1 minute and 30 seconds, Uncle Ben's. He did it for me. This is brown rice. This is 3 portions for me. This thing is weighed out, measured out, ready to go. I've got my starch in 1 minute and 30 seconds. He said I could eat as many vegetables as I wanted to. So what I did, I went to the frozen food section, and on many occasions, sometimes I'd use fresh vegetables, of course, but I went to the frozen food section and I'd see the broccoli and the sugar snap peas, and they're microwaved in 5 minutes. 2 parts of my meal down. What I do with my proteins. I eat chicken. Levi gave me a parameter of a list of proteins, the approved proteins. I wasn't completely accountable. Okay, I ate steak a little bit more than I probably told him, but what I would do is people say, eating healthy is expensive. Well, actually, eating healthy is not that expensive. What I ate was London broil, if I ate a steak. Okay, when I marinated it, I didn't marinate it in a ton of olive oil and everything like that. I used kosher salt and cracked pepper. I was not limited on any of my spices. Today, you're going to have a little spice in your lunch. What I did was I'd cook on Sundays and I'd cook on Wednesdays. I'd have my proteins part-cooked. They'd be in the fridge ready to go. So it was easier for me to stop by my house and throw together a real quick meal than it was for me to go out to eat. Now, I did go out to eat in that 12-week period. The guys over at Ocean Boulevard, if you ever go in there, you want to have a nice dinner, you tell them that you went to a Tastefully Fit seminar and they'll know exactly what to cook for you. Chili peppers right here in Kill Devil Hills, they've got an excellent lunch. They've got a steamer pot. Fits your diet. What I did was I had to cut down the fat. And that's what I did. As you see today, during this cooking demonstration, I've got my mushrooms are pre-cooked. That was all part of my, in the chef world, they call it mise en place, which is a French word for means I had my stuff together. Okay, so when I opened my fridge, I had quick meals ready to rock and roll. When I was going to be out on the road, sometimes, I don't know if anybody catch the miserable show that I do every now and then, but it's on the Hampton Road show. That takes almost 4 hours. So I'd be in a car from 5:30 in the morning, driving up there. I'd have to eat before I go. I'd have to eat 3 or 4 times during that period. While I was on the deep diet that Levi set me up on, I've never eaten so much in my life. This diet is not being hungry. And I hear people all the time, and they'll say to me, Wes, well, I eat pretty healthy. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure you do, but you probably don't eat enough. You know, a breakfast and a couple pieces of fruit and an almond and then a salad at the end of the day, that ain't where you want to get. to get where you want to get, you got to put all 3 legs of the stool together. You got to do the cardio, which Levi set me up on, which was 20 minutes of cardio. There's no one in this room that couldn't do the cardio that I did. You don't have to go run a marathon. You don't have to go kill yourself. You don't have to become anaerobic. You just walk on a treadmill, on an incline, or an elliptical, or a Stairmaster, or whatever you're comfortable doing, or a bicycle. And then do that physical weight training. And the biggest thing is where did I get? Well, I don't have my before and after pictures here, and I don't know if any of you all saw them. This is pretty much my before picture. But I'm in my mid-40s, and when I got up on that stage in front of 200 people, I have never been in that good a shape in my life. I was completely ripped out. I was amazed at what had happened to me. I was a true believer. I started this trip believing that Levi knew what he was talking about, because he looks like he does. But I didn't have any faith in what he was talking about until I completed the journey. And now I can put on some weight like God would say, eat what you want, do what you want, eat your protein, bulk it up. And I know that when I go back on, I'm going to cut it back down. You know, the big thing is here is with this diet or with your newfound workout program, a gym. People say, I like to work out at home. And you know what they might do? Get a lot out of working out at home. And they're a different person than me. I need to work out in the gym. I need to be in a setting. And sometimes people are intimidated by gyms. Intimidated by, oh, are they going to shape to me or they're not. I like to be in a setting where other people are doing the same thing I'm doing. If you guys compare that accountability is one of the key things to make this thing a success. A friend of mine told me, he said, you can't rise above yourself by yourself. And that's why we're here today. Is because we need help doing this. So, let me just show you just kind of really how quick. Now this is olive oil. Everybody knows this is a healthy fat. I didn't use it hardly at all. And I'll tell you why. Because what Levi was talking about earlier, you know those seminars that say, or those things that say, 1 glass of red wine is good for you. And then people drink like 2 bottles. And they're like, shoot, I'm good for a month, man. And tomorrow night I'll be good for the next 2 months, you know? Well, that's what it is with these healthy fats, you know? It's not what I don't know that gets me in trouble. It's what I absolutely know is the truth that just ain't so that gets me screwed up all the time. Okay, so what I had to do was I didn't want to deliver all my 14 grams of fat with a tablespoon. Tablespoon. That's probably about 16 to 18 grams of fat right there. Well, damn, I just took my healthy meal and I just made it into an unhealthy meal. Talk to me. So what I did is I went and found a delivery system that I could use olive oil spray. So this is basically what I used. Now you all say grits without butter and stuff is no good. Come on now. This is shrimp. Today you guys are going to eat some chicken. And my pan is hot. But that's one of the keys to cooking. Is make sure your stuff is hot. Make sure your stuff is prepped. All this stuff looks beautiful, but it looks just as nice as a little Tupperware container in your fridge. Now, if you don't have time to cut up the peppers and onions, you go through a food line or Harris Teeter and you find out, you know what, for another 50 cents, they got them cut up for me. So basically, I'm going to make, in the moment that you see me here, what that was sweet Vidalia onions, tomatoes, cilantro. I tossed it with a little bit of lime juice. Can you smell it? It's already starting to permeate the room a little bit. I'm going to hit it with a little bit more cilantro. Since I can use my spices, I got spice blends going, which is just basically garlic, Cajun spice. And then I have the brown rice. Now the brown rice is something, and I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of contempt prior to investigation. First of all, Levi told me I needed to eat oatmeal. I don't like oatmeal. I've never really eaten it. But I could look at it and tell I didn't like it. Part 2, brown rice. Really? Really? I can't make that stuff good. And if I can't make it good, it ain't good. But I could. I didn't know I could, but I could. I tell you what, these products, these things, they come out, they steam, they quick, and they take up any flavor that I hit them with. So when I throw this brown rice into this little mixture, all of a sudden, now it's going to be a little dry because I didn't use that 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So what I did, one of the staple products is I got a little bit of chicken stock right here. Now this is, I read the labels. course, we make our own chicken stock, but you know what? I can't strain it out like this. God, I'm old. Look at that. 0 grams of fat in that sucker. You know what I mean? Now, you might ask, well, how much salt did you eat, Wes? Okay, that's going to be a Diane question, but let me just give you a heads up on it. I don't have any dietary, I don't have any salt issues. Okay, so salt, yes, it makes you retain water. But if you flood your system with the water that these guys were talking about you drinking, it flushes you right through. Levi didn't give me any salt restrictions, didn't give me any spice restrictions. I like a little kosher salt and fresh ground pepper. That's what I use. Why don't I use table salt? Because just like processed Wonder Bread, table salt or iodized salt's been processed to such a degree that once you put it into something, you ever taste it and you go, oh, that's pretty good. Then you come back 15 minutes later, you go, dang, I need a potato in that, that's too salty. That kosher salt's more natural salt. It's more came directly from where it came from. And you know what? It doesn't taste any different after 15 minutes because it's slowly breaking down. So I used a white flaky kosher salt. The other thing I like about it is I can see it. I use my fingers when I do it. I don't always wear the gloves, but I use my fingers when I do it. And the other thing is I made a lot of salsas. I made a lot of sauces. I can cook. You can cook anything I just made right here. How quick and easy was that? Guess what? It's done. It is done. Now, we don't have a lot of time for questions and answers and everything, but you can talk to us afterwards. I would like to stress one thing, and Team Mike, thanks a lot for inviting us here to the town of Kill Hills. What I would like to stress one thing is the accountability factor, is how we make this thing work for each other. And what I'd like to tell you guys is, there was a friend of mine that went to California. You guys ever been to California? Anybody?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? He went out to California. He had never been to California before. He got picked up with 2 friends of his, and they said, we'll show you California. He was from North Carolina. And he said, that'll be cool. Whatever. I'm on the left coast. Whatever, dude. I'll have to look at it. So the first thing they did, they took him to a huge forest. And it was full of these sequoias. You ever heard of a sequoia? The trees were awesome. They reached all the way up into the friggin' heavens, these trees. They blocked out the sun. They were Jurassic Park looking trees. Anyway, he was amazed by them. And then what happened is they said, well, let's go to the coast. And he said, okay. So they drove out, and there'd be big fields, and there'd be another big patch of sequoias, and a big field, and another big patch of sequoias. And he said, why don't there be any sequoias all by themselves out in the middle of those fields? And that's a good question. He said, I'll tell you why. He said, because underneath the ground, those sequoias are such big, massive trees that their roots form a network to support each other. They give each other water when they need it. They bring each other nourishment when they need it, and they help support each other's growth. He said, if you put a sequoia all by itself out in the middle of the field, it will fall under its own majestic potential. It cannot do it on its own. And to do a diet, and to do a physical regimen, and to do this change in your life, you're just like that sequoia. Grab hold of somebody, become accountable, be on the same page, similar goals, like results, and guess what? You will achieve what you never thought was possible. Just like I did last year on May 5th. Enjoy the food. It's a little bit spicy. They're going to hit it with a little bit of salsa. And this portion is pretty much a good sized portion. I've got the shrimp up here too. I didn't make it for everybody. But if any of y'all want to try it, bon appetit. And that's it. Thanks for coming to the Tastefully Fit.